Hello, Catherine. Isn't it so sad, Catherine? Oh, he had a lovely way about it. We've very kind eyes and everything. Yeah, yeah. Oh, we're devastated, Catherine. Yeah. Anyway, I went downstairs to Owen. I says, Owen, have you heard the news? He says, yeah, I'm very sorry, Mum. And I says, Owen, the head of the Holy See is lying in state. There is a job going. Because I read in the news, Catherine, that any Catholic man can be the Pope. And I says, Owen, that could be you. And he says, no, couldn't, Ma'am. I says, yes, it's very simple. I says, Owen, all we have to do is we fly to Trieste to get David to book the flights now. And we get a bus, we rent a car up. And you go over it and you pay your respects. And you go over to the man running the conclave. And he is Irish, Owen. His name's Kevin Farrell. You went to school with Farrells. Yeah. But that's it, Catherine. You don't know who is related to who. And I says, I'll give you your baptismal cert and your candle, and you give that to him with your CV, and you say, I've been confirmed into the church. I would like to be the Pope, please. And that's all you have to do. Yeah. Yeah. And he was an altar server, Catherine. He was so good at the Clark and Catherine. I remember we did the Easter Vigil one time, Catherine, and he held the cross over his head for 10 minutes. And he was only 9 at the time, Catherine, and it was heavy. Anyway, he says, Ma'am, I can't be the Pope. I have a girlfriend. I says, Amy is not going to mind, Owen, if you get a job like that. But you remember the time she went to Chicago, Catherine, and she was the assistant manager of that Rainforest Cafe. I says, Owen, you didn't stop her doing that because it was good for her. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I remember, Catherine, I was going out with an American fella one time, and he went back to America, and I was devastated. And I looked him up on LinkedIn, Catherine. He is now the regional manager for Weetabix. Yeah. But I said, Owen, you don't know who else is going for it? I said, Lorcan's going for it. He says, Lorcan is a Protestant, Ma'am. I said, it won't stop him. I says, Monica has them in everything. I says, I bet you he'll have his baptism done, he'll have his communion and his confession, confirmation all done by the time you've even gotten out of bed. And he won't let on about it. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But there's the hidden jobs as well, Catherine. I mean, we need to be realistic here, Catherine. He's probably not going to be the Pope. But they might turn around and say, listen, you're too young for it this time, but we have a job going as a cardinal. Or a Swiss guard. Exactly. And that's very well paid, Catherine. Oh, it is. Oh, it is, Catherine. I remember we were friends, very friendly now with the Federers. And they lived beside where Daddy used to live, Catherine. And they put the tennis balls over the wall every so often. And he came over and I says, I'm sorry, but the dog has it now. I don't know if you're going to get it back. He says, don't worry about it. I've got hundreds of them. But he said to me, Catherine, the Swiss guards get paid an awful lot of money. And it's a prestigious job. And I says, that could be all. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, Catherine.